Today on Rappler, Dean Jose Manuel Jokno says it's legal suicide to summon the ombudsman as a hostile witness. The MTRCB suspends the Tulfo show on TV5 for 20 days. And Jessica Sanchez gives a stunning performance as she fights to move to top 3 of American Idol.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. We promise uncompromised journalism that hopefully inspires smart conversations and ignites a thirst for change. Why would Chief Justice Renato Corona want the Ombudsman, a former colleague at the Supreme Court, to testify against him in his own impeachment trial? On May 8, the defense asked the Senate to subpoena Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales. The Senate signed the subpoena the next day on Wednesday, May 9th, ordering her to appear on Monday, May 14th. The Ombudsman asked Corona to explain an alleged $10 million which were not declared in his Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN. Lawyers tell Rappler letting the Ombudsman talk could help build the defense of Corona on 2 fronts. 1, by tainting her image as an independent public official, and 2, by weakening the credibility of her investigation. Ateneo School of Government Dean Antonio Laviña thinks the Corona camp wants Carpio Morales to testify because his lawyers are certain these bank deposits are, in his words, non-existent. Christian Monsod, member of the 1987 Constitutional Convention, says the Ombudsman has to show the basis of her claim. Monsod tells Rappler one would expect preliminary work from her so that she will not be accused of doing this for political harassment. But here's Corona's problem when the Ombudsman testifies. Despite the restraining order from the Supreme Court, the Ombudsman can access the dollar accounts through the Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLAC. Lawyers we consulted also say Corona can use other strategies. He could say the $10 million is not his, but money he held in trust. He used that defense for about 34 million pesos in deposits, which he says he did not declare because it belongs to a family-owned corporation, the Basa Gidote Enterprises. Another lawyer says the defense can harp on the conspiracy angle. Corona has repeatedly said the Aquino administration is prosecuting him because he voted against the president's interests in Hacienda Luisita. Dean of De La Salle Law School, Jose Manuel Jokno, says the defense is taking a large risk by asking Ombudsman Carpio Morales to take the stand as a hostile witness. Jokno says this may be legal suicide.
It's very interesting from a legal perspective. Many of us are in a quandary what the defense is trying to do. It's very risky to call a hostile witness, even just one of them. To call 10 hostile witnesses, to me, is almost like legal suicide. And I'm not exactly sure what the strategy of the defense here is. The problem with calling a hostile witness is you have no control over what they will say. And by characterizing them as hostile, you already know that they are not for you. That means that when they are cross-examined by the prosecution could have a field day. They could easily get admissions from the witnesses that otherwise they wouldn't be able to get.
If this is legal, Jokno adds Carpio Morales is a fighter and she won't be intimidated by lead defense counsel Serafin Cuevas. He also says Carpio Morales will present a solid case. Jokno also disputes Cuevas' warning that Corona plans to drag President Aquino into the fray. He says Corona did that as soon as he was impeached by Congress. Well, the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, the MTRCB, suspends the show T3 for 20 days after it aired the Tulfo brothers cursing and threatening Claudine Barreto and Raymart Santiago with bodily harm May 7th. The host's eldest brother, Ramon Tulfo, fought with Santiago and Barreto at the airport last Sunday. TV5 CEO Ray Espinosa says the station will contest the decision and ask for a temporary restraining order. Espinosa says while the Tulfo brothers deserve to be suspended, the show should not be sanctioned. Well, Filipinos have an uncanny ability to make fun of the latest scandal in amusing and creative ways. A day after the Tulfos and Santiago's fight, pictures began to spread online. Here's what Rappler found on Facebook. In 2011, Filipinos made fun of a DPWH photo release that turned out to be photoshopped or digitally altered. Users put the officials in different scenes, including the balcony in Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding, the Last Supper, and the UAAP cheer dance competition. Earlier, Batangas Governor Vilma Santos proposed a Hollywood-like sign of Batangas on the Taal volcano, and this is what happened. And then, of course, there's the photo of Private Prosecutor Vitaliano Aguirre covering his ears during the monologue of Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, which turned into this, the famous painting, The Scream. Indonesian rescuers Thursday spotted the wreckage of Russia's first post-Soviet civilian jet that disappeared in mountainous terrain during a demonstration flight on Wednesday. The plane had about 45 people on board. An Indonesian military helicopter spotted the wreckage near the dormant volcano Mount Salak, close to the city of Bogor in West Java. The Superjet 100, a new passenger aircraft, is crucial to Russia's hopes of becoming a player in the aviation industry. This is the first disaster to involve Superjet 100. Rescuers find no survivors. Gay rights groups cheer U.S. President Barack Obama's announcement he supports same-sex marriage, while conservatives swiftly denounced his landmark stance. Gay groups say Obama made history by being the first sitting U.S. president to explicitly support marriage for same-sex couples. They add, "It's a great day for America." Groups who oppose same-sex marriage say Obama now made the definition of marriage, quote, a defining issue in the upcoming elections. The groups vow to prevent Obama, who is, quote, beholden to gay activists, from turning marriage into something political.
I've always been adamant that gay and lesbian Americans should be treated fairly and equally. When I think about members of my own staff who are in incredibly committed monogamous relationships, same-sex relationships, who are raising kids together, for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
Well, let's now look at Rappler's Rap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss on Rappler's front page. At number 4, the Philippine internet community sparks a buzz over media cases on television, radio, and print. TV5 suspends the Tulfo brothers from Wednesday to Friday. On radio, Magic 89.9 suspends DJ Mo Twister and his co-host for 2 weeks for a tasteless joke against singer Charis Pempenco on Twitter. And in print, the Philippine Daily Inquirer is criticized for its caption on a photo of a Muslim woman in a burqa shaking hands with President Aquino. The caption underneath said, "Security risk." At number 5, an anchor on China's state-run television network mistakenly announces the Philippines is part of China during an ongoing conflict between the two countries over a shoal in the South China Sea. That triggers bombastic statements on China's microblogging site, including this one, quote, "If every Chinese spat once, we could drown the Philippines." China warns its citizens in Manila to stay off the streets during planned protests on Friday. And at number 7, a hospital in Houston broadcasts the removal of a brain tumor from a 21-year-old patient. Hospital staff live tweeted from the operating room. Video and photos are available on Twitter and on YouTube. And at number 8, Ustream claims it was shut down by Russia to prevent citizen journalists from distributing videos of protests against its president, Vladimir Putin. Ustream CEO calls this an attack on the freedom of the internet, shutting down the U.S. online video streaming service for 9 hours. This actually affected Rappler's stream last night. And finally, a survey of youths between ages 19 and 26 from Singapore, China, and the U.S. shows more than half of them found their social media obligations too demanding. Some of them felt they had to like their friends' photos and status updates to keep up and to show they care. Do you feel the same pressure from your friends on Facebook? Tweet us at rappler.com. Well, now let's move on to Pangasinan for an update on the Palarong Pambansa. Natasha Gutierrez is there live. Natasha, yesterday you spoke about the larger goals of the Games, helping these young athletes reach their dreams. Any more inspiring stories like that?
Plenty, Maria. One of them is the daughter of a former Olympic swimmer who is trying to leave her own mark at Palarong Pambansa. But more than winning medals or setting records, native Tausug Shermalyn Jalmani's most important goal right now is to stay in school by being a sports scholar. Rappler's David Santos reports.
13-year-old swimmer Shermalyn Jalmaani was raised in a poor community in Zamboanga City and dreams of becoming a nurse. Her dad, a 3-time Olympian swimmer, encouraged her to try competitive swimming and be a state scholar. Shermalyn is part of the elementary girls swimming team of the Zamboanga Peninsula. Like many athletes from poor families, she sees sports as the key to staying in school. Her dad, she says, is both her critic and fan.
Sabi niya, mag-swim ka na para at least makapunta ka sa ibang lugar. Dapat daw i-focus daw yung breast kasi daw mahilig siya sa breaststroke.
Shermalyn's coach, Goff Leroy, is also a former Olympian. He and Shermalyn's dad were both part of the legendary holo swimmers who represented the country in the Olympics in the 60s and 70s.
The story in mga early 60s, to go to Manila, it's a magical name to us, Manila, because even the rich is having a hard time going to Manila. So for us, going to Manila parang so one way of getting by mga old swimmer that have been to Manila telling us like this, so we were inganyo to train. So train hard and make it team to Manila, because from holo swimmer it goes directly to Manila. And most of us training 2-3 years Olympian immediately.
But with the infamous 1974 holo burning, the careers of the homegrown swimmers also ended. Leroy poured his frustration into training new swimmers, hoping the new generation would live up to their legacy. But the lack of support remains a major setback. The local culture also gets in the way of discovering athletes.
In 19, I'm not sure about the death of arm forbid Muslim swimmer to compete.
Why?
Because un-Muslim daw yung mga dresses.
In swimsuit.
So until now, there's no swimmer from arm.
For girls.
Both boys and girls.
Shermalyn is a Muslim, but she joined Zamboanga Peninsula where the outfit is not an issue. A Manila school has offered her scholarship, but her dad reportedly turned it down. Shermalyn won a silver in last year's Palaro and hopes to do better this year. Coach Goff is banking on her skills and her genes to bring honor to her region. David Santos, Rappler, Pangasinan.
Certainly, we are all inspired by stories like Shermalyn's, Maria, that remind us that there's so much more to these games. Maria.
Fantastic, Natasha. There were some records broken today as well, right? Tell us what happened today.
Yes, actually, a few records were broken. In athletics, there's a new secondary girls high jump record that was broken by NCR's Maureen Emily Shrivers. And in swimming, NCR broke yet another record for secondary girls 4x50 meter freestyle relay. In volleyball, secondary girls arch rivals Western Visayas and NCR, Central Visayas and Northern Mindanao advanced to the semis. And in basketball, secondary boys, 2-time defending champions Calabarzon, NCR, Davao, and Western Visayas will move on as well. So we're really expecting an eventful day tomorrow. Maria.
Fantastic. Thank you, Natasha Gutierrez, live from Pangasinan. Singer Jessica Sanchez steps up in the final stretches of the popular show American Idol with only 4 remaining contestants. A teary-eyed Sanchez receives a standing ovation from the judges after singing "And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going" from the Broadway musical Dreamgirls. That marks the 6th time the judges gave the 16-year-old a standing ovation. Judge Jennifer Lopez calls her performance, quote, a real moment, while Randy Jackson says she is, quote, in it to win it. Sanchez began by singing Etta James' Steal Away. Judge Steven Tyler says he loves the performance because it shows a different side of her voice. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, May 10th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.